So when I got the lolly in my daddy's pocket, so I did smoke it, so I did feel liquor. So afterwards, so I was a drug addict.
They gave me too much alcohol and I didn't know what was going on, but then they forced me to smoke cigarettes.
I did smoke okka pipe. So they throw drugs in.
I was 11 years old and I started smoking the cigarette because I went with my friends to parties and then I saw they smoking cigarettes and that stuff. So when I turned 13 years old, I started smoking pouches. It's also weed.
It's very hard for the people that we have to be in the good route because there's no one that can set the example for you in this community.
So I hope you guys are ready for today's video, man. This is going to be a really good one because I think it's one that a lot of people struggle with. This could have been something that started in your teen years when you were growing up. You got peer pressured perhaps to do things. Now, I know that many of us have friend groups. We explore, we do certain things that are perhaps not what our parents want us to do, and so you then fall into a trap. Many times it's exactly that starting point where things just take off in a negative direction. Some people get caught up in substance abuse, such as drugs or alcohol, such as bad decision making that leads them down a path that takes their life completely in a different direction. And so we get to see there's a video that we're going to be reacting to today, and I'm looking forward to it. It's the couple of girls that speaks about the experiences when they got addicted into drugs, and it speaks about this notion of how pressure comes from friends, and I think that's where everything starts. Many times that's where it starts, right? But please don't go away. Please keep watching, keep seeing what's going to be happening. This video is about 15 years old, and these ladies are progressively a lot better, in a better place at the moment. But it was just so amazing for me to see this, because I think not only do we still see peer pressure being a plague to teens, but we see it being a starting point of being peer pressured into negative elements that we find in the world, in the perspective of being a Christian, which is a negative outlook, because things in the world can be pleasurable. We are encouraged to live a life that is holy and righteous, and so therefore not particularly giving into the carnality and the pleasures of the flesh, and that's what's offered in the world. And so I'm reminded of the scripture in Romans 12 verse 2 that speaks of, do not conform by the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so I'm excited to be going through this video with you, and I want you to stick around. Please do consider to like, comment and subscribe, as it does help us to push the video into the algorithm and get more teens aware of the dangers of going into these kind of situations where you become addicted. Perhaps it starts as a fun thing, but then you become addicted, and then it becomes difficult, and so there's a lot of complications that actually come with it. Anyways, my name is Steven. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope that you're going to enjoy this video with us today, and I'm sure that you are going to be blessed. Let's check this video out and see exactly what these ladies had to go through.
The first time I did do drugs, I did get a lolly in my daddy's pocket. My daddy do drugs. I get a lolly in his pocket. And so I did see my friends do drugs. They used to do that, but I didn't want to do that. But so when I got the lolly in my daddy's pocket, so I did smoke it, so I did feel liquor. So afterwards, so I was a drug addict.
My first time I started smoking on cigarettes.
Just for some context over there, right? So these are girls from South Africa. So just for a little bit of the slang, I want to explain to you. Something lekker means just something pleasurable. She enjoyed it, and so she says that she didn't want to do drugs, but she found this lolly. So that would be perhaps something you smoke, like tik. It's a drug that is on the streets in South Africa, and so she found this in the possession of her father, and so that's why she felt, man, she wants to do this, and when she did it, that's when she felt this overwhelming pleasure. So I think that's a point that we're going to talk about later. I do want us to continue, but just think about it. She found it in her father's possession, and so therefore she felt she can actually go ahead with this. What a responsibility on parents to know that kids are consistently watching and consistently having to, if they see you do it, I think they also feel that it's okay. So you feel that you constantly need to be aware of what are you doing, right? So let's check it out further.
It was when I was with my cousin at a party. They gave me too much alcohol and I didn't know what was going on, but then they forced me to smoke cigarettes. So I was wrong also listening after them because I didn't know what's right and wrong. But I just tried it just to to fit in with them. So I tried, but it's not right.
First, I did smoke okka pipe. So they threw drugs in. So I thought it wasn't nice.
I started smoking cigarettes and the weed, taha.
Bro, these kids look young. These kids look young, don't they? They look extremely young, and it's almost as if so to say, like, man, are they like 15, 16? I wonder. Anyways,
I was 11 years old and I started smoking the cigarette because I went with my friends to parties and then I saw they smoking cigarettes and that stuff. So when I turned 13 years old, I started smoking pouches, also weed. And so
13. We were just talking about the age. 13 years old. That is wild. Started smoking weed, cigarettes, all these things. That is crazy. And all this because of peer pressure and wanting to be part of a group. Man.
my friends also used to do that. And I was smoking that the whole time. So I began hanging out with gangsters. So I started smoking a paper or so. And I used to hang out with them, smoking and doing the wrong stuff also. And they went to go shoot, and I went with them, and I almost started to be a gangster.
There's no one in this community that set the example for you, and there's no one to look up to. So it's very hard for the people that we have to be in the good route because there's no.
Isn't that wild that she starts off with that to say that there's no one in the community to look up to? There's no one, and it starts with the first girl that was speaking about what was happening in the household, her dad having the possession of those drugs, and that's why she felt she wanted to do it. And so we see the reflection of, and I want us to consider that, man, it starts in the home, doesn't it? Starts in the home, flows over, and it gets into the community, because those are the men that are then going to be a reflection of the community. But if the home looks that way, we won't have any role models in the community. We won't have people children can look up to, because even the parents, and I think that's what Satan does. He goes after the family, he goes after the man. There's no role models, and then everyone else that God has put in place, to be led by, can't be led in that way, because Satan took them out, and that is the man, the head of the home, right? That is something to really consider. That is crazy, man.
One that can set the example for you in this community.
It's very hard to be a teenager in this because it's rough, and there's lots of people that do drugs, children getting pregnant and things. There's the reason why the children is like that, because their parents don't care about them. Maybe their mom is on drugs, or the daddy or whoever is on drugs.
It's hard for us to tell us more.
So that is exactly what I just said. Sorry for stopping the video all the time, but that is exactly what I just said. I just said, like, that is a reflection of the home. And yeah, she just says it like maybe the mom is doing drugs or whatever, and that's why the kids turn out that way, and that's why we're not having role models in the community. It does go broader. I think it goes a lot broader, because I think certain communities and environments are kept that way for a specific purpose. But that's a conversation for another time. That's something I want us to think about and talk about. But that's exactly what she's saying, and that is true, because there are so many people that are perhaps going through these kind of addictions. It flows over into their kids, and their kids start doing it as well. And you have a whole community built on this kind of dysfunction, and we see no progress in a certain group of people. So, man, crazy.
Want me to stop that because they already in that, it's in them no matter what they hurt us. We also, if we see our mothers do that, we also gonna go after them even though we telling them mommy is not right and mommy, we tell our mommy stuff, they won't still listen to us because that's already in their brain, so they will just go on doing that. They won't care because that's what drugs do to them.
Sometimes it's hard for youngsters to stop doing this stuff because their mothers if their mothers is every day drunk and the daddies is geroek, then they don't still care of you.
I was brought up hard because every time when I come after school or anything, then my daddy is drunk, hitting us, abusing us every night because I'm supposed to be in a higher grade when I'm in now. Because every time when we go get our homework of everything there for the school, then we come home, then my daddy abuses us every time, hit us on our head with anything what is in front of him, even if we smoke or something. It's so hard.
When I was young, my parents, they were always drunk, smoking, performing in the house too. And the reason why I'm almost also now still in grade 7, but I passed in grade 7 to grade 8 now because my parents, they always perform in the house, late performance and that stuff. And then they fight in the house too. And then I failed once, grade 1, and I failed grade 6 was the worst because no one actually cared about us in the house. It was only me, my small brother, and my one brother and a sister. And my sister, she loved by a boyfriend. She didn't also care about us, just sometimes when she buy food for us. My mommy doesn't work and my daddy also doesn't work, but they're drinking and smoking. And my mommy didn't care about us, so I failed twice in grade 6.
The worst thing what had happened to me was when my parents abused me. They did always abuse me when I was little. And then I cry when I have blue eyes and stuff. And then I don't go to school. And I cry.
When my
Man, this is really sad to listen to because you're getting an understanding that though these kids know what right and wrong is and they perhaps give in to the peer pressure because they want to be into a specific group, but they're also sharing things with regards to like parents that are perhaps unemployed, like the one girl mentioned, being unemployed but you're still intoxicated every day, being unemployed but you have money to do other things except doing things that is supposed to be done in the home. And so it really sheds light on the perspective of how important it is for the parents to be the example and the role model, but that also becomes a cycle. So this whole thing becomes a cycle. This whole thing is like a wheel that just never stops because these kids grow up, they portray that to their families, and then their families become that. And so we need to be aware the communities that are rooted or infested at least with the problem of all these dysfunctional substances that are tarnishing and destroying people, that if we how can we help and assist in that way? How can we go out and show positive role models to these kids? How can we be that to them? And it's so difficult, trust me it is, because they get so intoxicated with the pleasure of the substance that even if you're trying to help them, they see it as you trying to pull them away from something that ultimately makes them that. And that is a sad one. Anyways, let's finish up this one.
my mother and my father separated, they divorced. And so I was living with my mommy, and in that time when I failed grade 6 but I'm now going to grade 9, I failed that year is because my new stepmother didn't want me to come to my daddy and spend time with my daddy that time. And then that was always on my mind to school, and it took my mind off my schoolwork and all that, so I couldn't even concentrate that time. And then my mommy was a single parent. She didn't work and she still had to go look and borrow money to support me with food every night, and that was really love. When my daddy had a job and he was too into his new girlfriend that he didn't even worry about me.
Some teenagers don't have mothers and they think it's a right to do wrong stuff and all that. Some of them does have mothers, but the mothers don't care of them. The mothers want to hear nothing. That's why the teenagers do wrong stuff because the mothers don't care for them.
Even though my father do drugs, I can show him that I am a better person. You see, I show him I don't have to do what he do, the same things that he do. I can also change.
Okay, so man, what a crazy wild ride to listen to and to watch and to see that these kids are going through that. You see, there's a whole cascade of problems that is on a roller coaster, and it all just is like a group of cards that are lined up and they just tumble, and it just has this rolling effect, and it affects everybody. And so you get to see that if it's in the house, it starts with the parents being able to go over, then understanding that if it's with the parents, them not doing what they're supposed to be doing, it then has an effect on the children then go out and it has an effect on their social lives with friends, and them having the school. How many times did we hear about them kind of not progressing in school and being held back a grade because of unsupportive parents, or situations where they have intoxication problems. And so man, this is just so much, and I'm just so grateful we got to see what these kids are going through. I do want to pull up though a stat if I could. This is from South Africa. The Minister Sindiswa Chikunga on youth impact on substance abuse, and she says that this was from the 1st of February 2026. It says the minister in the presidency responsible for women, youth and persons with disabilities, Ms. Sindiswa Chikunga, is cautioning young people against the growing surge of scourge of substance abuse, warning that it continues to threaten their health, safety, education, and long-term contribution to the socio-economic development of the country. Minister Chikunga said substance abuse remains one of the most serious challenges confronting South Africa's youth, as it contributes to school dropouts, unemployment, crime, mental health challenges, and gender-based violence and femicide. The minister emphasizes that young people are among the most vulnerable groups, as they are prone to dependence on alcohol, or at least drugs and substances, particularly in communities affected by poverty, unemployment, inequality, and limited access to recreational and economic opportunities. This often results in a range of problems, including academic difficulties, health-related problems such as mental health illness, poor peer relationships, conflict with the law, and a high rate of accidents. These problems also harm family members, the community, and the entire society. Substance abuse robs young people of their potential and undermines the future of their country, or our country. It fuels violence, weakens families, destroys communities, and places enormous pressure on social services, said Minister Chikunga. As part of the government's response, the Department of Human Youth and Persons with Disabilities will continue to work with the Central Drug Authority, the Department of Social Development, the Department of Health, law enforcement agencies, and civil and societies organizations in strengthening prevention programs, awareness campaigns, and social supportive services. We cannot speak about youth development without addressing the devastating role that the drugs and alcohol play in perpetuating abuse, crime, and hopelessness. Prevention must start early, and it must involve individual youth, their families, schools, faith-based organizations, and communities, she added. So you guys can read the rest of the article over there. I think that's basically what I wanted to highlight to you guys, is exactly what we heard in the clip or in the video, the effects that these things have in our communities, in our homes, in our children's lives. And it's important that we are aware that these things are happening. I do understand that many times it's difficult to infiltrate and get positive results in communities like these, but I think it's important that we do go out and still make a difference. Scripture is important in a situation like this, because our our fight is not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities of this end. So therefore, we need to be able to be sure and stand strong to say, this is what we're going to go up against, and we are able to get the Lord to help us with wisdom, with strength, with encouragement, but also if we can help with more therapeutic approaches, so that more awareness can be made to people that are undergoing these kind of problems. Because the question then remains, even if you do help someone get employed, are they going to use their money to buy drugs? If you do get someone off drugs, can we help someone get employed? Because now they're going to have nothing to do. And so there's so many loose pieces when we consider that. And so as a community, if we are aware of these things, we need to pull in together. We need to, if we're going to go into a community, we need to be sure, man, if we can resource some jobs, if we can resource some rehab awareness campaigns and get that going and help people to get to a place where they no longer need to use these things. If we can get people plugged into churches, the local church, and have them serving, those are things that we need to consider. Having people be part of a community and a family, helping them see role models, to see strong biblical role models, and that they may be able to see God in all of that. And so it's important that we do consider that. I hope that this was kind of informative for you, but also that it just spurs you on. Let us be people that are examples. Let's be people that go out and share in spirit and in truth and worship the Lord in that way as well. Let's be people that when we are looked at, we know that, man, this starts in the home, and so we continually build on that. And so I hope that you were encouraged, and I hope that you are able to take this going forward and making an impact and a difference in your community, in your home, and in all the spaces that you find yourselves. God bless you and keep well.